Ahoy there! Strap in for a sea of nautical puns, because these critics get naughty. Rotten Tomatoes shows us that the audiences gave Titanic 69%, and the critics gave it 88%. So the first critic up is Richard Corliss, Time Magazine. He says, the regretful verdict here, dead in the water. I wouldn't let this guy review the 9/11 movie that I keep begging James Cameron to direct. He'll probably be just as insensitive and say, it crumbles with disappointment. Stephanie Zakarik from Salon.com says, glub, glub, glub. Does Stephanie need her ducky?
I'm Duckie! I'm Duckie!
Oh, look, Stephanie, I got your ducky. Got your ducky right here. Quack, quack. Glub, glub, glub. If she's not purposefully trying to talk like a toddler, then she is being completely insensitive because she is making fun of the last dying sounds of thousands of souls in the water. Kenneth Turan from Los Angeles Times says, a movie that reeks of phoniness and lacks even minimal originality. And phoniness? What's phony about love? And you want it to be original? How original are you wanting it? It's based off a chapter in a history book. Brandon Judell from Critics Inc. /America Online says, if when you see this film, you believe it's credible, God bless you and your unfortunate offspring with their damaged gene pool. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Credible? Let me guess. Are you one of those conspiracy nut jobs who doesn't think the Titanic actually happened? Even if there wasn't, I'm still glad they made the movie. And you want to get personal, Brandon? I can do that. Let's play ball. Let's look at a list of the movies you've reviewed recently, shall we? So here are the movies that Brandon not only saw in recent times, but gave positive scores to. Now, for those of you sitting at home, I want you to figure out what all of these movies have in common. Mayor Pete is an openly gay presidential-elect. Faster, Pussycat, Kill Kill. Well, apparently that is pornish. Bloody Oranges, where a teenager girl encounters a sex maniac. 3 months. Couple of gay guys porking while waiting for an HIV result. Brandon recommended it to minors. You Can Live Forever, about Jehovah's Witness lesbians. Nude Tuesday, exactly what you'd expect. Age of Consent, a gay film with this in the synopsis, described by the barman as a sneaky, sexy, dirty wee hole. Erica's First Holy Shit. I did not bother looking that one up. Happy Birthday, about 2 young lesbians and 3 homosexuals. Brandon says it's like Ellen's Talk Show and Queer Eye for the straight butt. Egoist, about more gay guys. Bulletproof, a lesbian's guide to surviving the plot. This is about the search for queer representation. The Binding is about a dude who strikes up a gay relationship with his boss with a typo in the 3-line synopsis. And, according to Brandon, plenty of nipple play. You want to know what all those movies have in common? If you're a little bashful, don't worry. I'll say it for you. They all have less than 50 critic reviews. And with many of them, Brandon was the only one who bothered watching them. Not even the cast and crew went on to Rotten Tomatoes to score their own movies. Oh, but don't worry. Guess what Brandon gave Michael Bay's Ambulance? One of the only films I recognize. 4 out of 10 stars, a Rotten score. Are you surprised? So the trend seems to be that the more popular and mainstream the movie is, the lower score he's gonna give it. But if you've never heard of it, he's gonna love it for the sake of loving something nobody else loves. Yeah, why is he a critic? Stephen D. Great Anus from Decent Film says, perhaps the most melancholy thing about Titanic is its celebration of romantic ideals to the exclusion of such self-denying virtues as honor, duty, and heroism. Jack Dawson's middle name is Honor, Duty, and Heroism. He fought for Rose's hand and won. He performed his duty in the back of a 1912 Renault. And finally, he was heroic in agreeing to sketch the portrait of a one-legged prostitute in order to prove her value.
She had a good sense of humor, though.
Deshaun Thompson from Washington Post says, Titanic is a good, often stunning movie caught in a 3.5-hour drift. What? He's dinging it for its runtime? He says it's good, even stunning. How do you give a stunning movie a bad score? He gave the extended edition of Return of the King a fresh score, and that clocks in at 4 hours and 10 minutes. Oh, and he also must have a thing for Brendan Fraser because he liked George of the Jungle and Dudley Do-Right. David Edelstein from Slate says, now it can be told, the Titanic went down because of two distracting smoochers on the poop deck. Welcome back to junior high, David. Hope you enjoy your stay. Asia Cummings from Little White Lies says, if you fancy indulging in pure, unadulterated silliness and spending a night in the 90s, this is a good bet. Excuse me, ma'am, but there is nothing silly about what happened on the Titanic that night. My bet is that her insensitivity is just the tip of the iceberg. She can't hold on to a relationship because she gets in too deep too fast. She's so dense that she thinks the death toll of Titanic went up by 5 people in 2023. So no, this is not the type of humor you can sink your teeth into. Tara Bradley from Irish Times says, forget Celine Dion's Infernal Heart. This movie just goes on and on. Well, Tara, how about you go tell that to the thousands of people drowning in 28-degree water? You think that just went by in a flash? The supposed trauma you're enduring is very different from those poor souls. Show a little respect, Tara. By the way, in order to do some research on this video, I went to the library and asked if they had any books on the Titanic. They said, yeah, we have a few. I said, oh, that's too bad. I bet they're all ruined by now. Respect, people. Respect. Elvis Mitchell from Fort Worth Star, Telegram, DFW.com says, at least we know there won't be a sequel. Au contraire, my dear king. While there have been 8 English-speaking attempts to recreate this disaster, we were treated to Titanic 2 in 2010. Try saying that 20 times fast. Which I can only imagine is about Jack Frost trying to return the Heart of the Sea to its original owner.
Jesus, no!
Only life is priceless, and making each day count.
Philip French from Observer UK says, James Cameron's deeply disappointing Titanic is a sad thing when set against the modest, factual 1958 film, A Night to Remember. Well, even by that time, nobody remembered A Night to Remember. I had never heard of it until this review. And Philip thinks Titanic was disappointing? Why don't you go ask Captain Edward J. Smith if he was at all disappointed by the Titanic? I'm pretty sure he was. All right, let's jump on over to the audience. Luke C. seems to be a favorite of mine. I'm going to pick on him. He gives Titanic half a star, saying, is he stupid? Why did he let go? Can he not swim well? Dumb ending, didn't make sense, not realistic? I'm assuming that Luke here is talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, the character of Jack Dawson. He says, can he swim? Okay, how about the other thousands of people in the water that night? They probably could swim, but they still drowned. It doesn't matter if you can swim or not. You're going to die of exhaustion, if not hypothermia, before anybody finds you. Swimming is not the issue here. Lennox B gives Titanic 5 stars, says, one of the, if not the best movies of all time, a pure, perfect movie everyone deserves to see. So yeah, bad grammar, but everyone deserves to see it. Obviously. Like, yes, even the North Koreans deserve to see it. But does it mean they get to? Sunny C gives Titanic 5 stars and says, the best romance and Leonardo DiCaprio movie I have ever saw. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. The most honest review for Titanic comes from James Berardinelli from Real Views. It says, you don't just watch Titanic, you experience it. That's all I have for this great movie. I'll see you in the next video. It seems disrespectful to be making a video about Titanic and enjoying some ice cold water. That just doesn't seem kind. What? Point out a subplot. What? He performed his duty in the back of a 1912. He performed his duty in the back of a 1912 Type CB. He performed his duty in the